Holiday bookings soar after the government finally makes it easier to go abroad. Half-term breaks are up 200% on the news the red list is shrinking and the vaccinated can avoid PCR tests.
We've been really busy today. This morning we've had lots of calls from our customers, and now customers are more confident that there's fewer restrictions.
Also ahead, another surge in gas prices could affect food production as well as energy bills. The faces of the 7 children the US now admits it killed in Afghanistan in an airstrike gone wrong.
And here at Pride Park, Derby County fans are coming to terms with the club's financial collapse and almost certain relegation.
This is ITV News with Gamal Fahnbulleh.
Good evening. Travel agents have reported a big spike in holiday bookings today after the announcement that the COVID travel rules for England are to be simplified. The traffic light system will be abandoned on October the 4th and replaced with a simple, shorter red list. And fully vaccinated people no longer need a costly PCR test before or after they return. Northern Ireland has indicated that it could follow suit, but Scotland and Wales are still considering options. Martha Fairley reports.
Coming back to England from a trip abroad is about to become a whole lot easier, although the changes to travel rules won't happen in time for passengers jetting off to Greece and Spain from Gatwick Airport today.
So do you think once these new rules come in, you might be encouraged to travel a bit more then?
Yes, we probably will do. I'd like to go away for Christmas, so hopefully we might get to do something.
It's a bit annoying that obviously we had to do the test and everything this time, and then it's just got changed for next month, but it'll be fine. Wasn't too much hassle.
Yeah, we'd like to get away more. I think everyone would.
The last 2 years have been particularly turbulent for the travel sector, but they're hoping that this simplification of international travel rules will give consumers the confidence to start booking again.
Several leading travel firms have reported a surge in foreign holiday bookings, up around 200% since the changes were announced.
We've been really busy today. This morning we've had lots of calls from our customers. Customers are more confident that there's fewer restrictions, and the test, they were worried that they would get stuck in the country, as obviously going from October, so that's great news.
And are you both double vaccinated?
Yes.
Perfect.
Many, like Douglas, making a last-minute decision to get away for the October half-term.
And you're all booked to go on holiday.
Thank you very much, thank you. We've been looking at it, but with all the relaxations that just come off, we went, yep, we're off down to the agents and we're booked up to go to Rhodes.
But the travel industry says it still needs some help to get through the year.
This move is incredibly welcome, it really is, but it is rather late in the day. So if we were having this conversation back in July, I'd be much more optimistic, and I don't think the industry would be asking for much financial assistance. But as it is, we're at the end of the summer. So it is welcome, but it's not in itself enough. We do need some financial assistance as well.
They're hoping the simplified travel system will tempt holidaymakers back to the beaches in search of some much-needed sunshine. Martha Fairley, ITV News.
Thousands of people who have taken part in trials for an as-yet unapproved COVID vaccine have found they are unable to get a vaccine passport to use abroad. Recipients of the Novavax jab aren't recognised as vaccinated, but their trial status means they can't currently get an approved vaccine either. Nick Wallace has more.
Luke Watson joined the Novavax trial to do his bit, but until the jab is licensed, legally he's unvaccinated. Frustrated by the delay, Luke has left the programme.
We're in limbo. I know at the moment they're saying that anyone in a trial is classed as being double vaccinated, but I withdrew yesterday. So what does that now mean for me? I'm not officially in a trial, and I'm now not. But I've had 2 vaccines of Novavax. I don't know where I am.
With thousands in the same situation, one MP has written to the Health Secretary, angry that public-spirited volunteers are being disadvantaged.
We've got hopefully holidays and things coming up for people as things open up a little bit more, but these guys can't go on holiday, they can't do anything. And we need to look at the people who've had the first dose. do we now discount that and do we give them the opportunity to have different vaccines and almost start again? So action needs to be taken for these good people who've put themselves forward for all the right reasons.
The government says trial participants in England can already access a domestic NHS COVID pass via the NHS app or nhs.uk, and we're working urgently to enable them to obtain their international NHS COVID pass as soon as possible. Novavax trialists who leave the programme have been told they're welcome to get other vaccines, but at their own risk. Nick Wallace, ITV News.
The Business Secretary has been holding urgent talks with the energy industry today as concern grows about the surge in wholesale gas prices. Our political correspondent, Harry Horton, is in Westminster. And Harry, this isn't simply about household energy bills. The effects of these high gas prices are far wider, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. There could be knock-on effects across various industries in the UK. Already, we've seen 2 huge fertiliser production facilities in the northeast have to close down because of high energy prices. Now, that's significant because a byproduct of the fertiliser production process is CO2, carbon dioxide. That's widely used across the food and drink industry. In meat processing, for example, it's one of the only ways you can humanely kill animals. Tonight, the British Meat Processing Association is warning that if CO2 supply issues are as bad as they fear, we could see shortages of meat on supermarket shelves in the weeks and months ahead. There's also concerns about the drinks industry. CO2, of course, is very much used in beer production. Now, the Environment Department, they've been meeting with meat processors today to try and discuss alternative CO2 supplies. And the Business Secretary, Kwasi Kwarteng, he's been trying to get to the bottom of all this with energy suppliers. In a tweet tonight, he's sought to reassure consumers. He says that the UK benefits from having a diverse range of gas supply sources with sufficient capacity to more than meet demand. He says the UK's gas supply system continues to operate reliably and we do not expect supply emergencies this winter. He's got more meetings with energy bosses tomorrow and Monday. Labour, though, they say this is all too little too late. They say the government has left the UK exposed and vulnerable to the impact of high energy prices.
OK, Harry, thank you. The US has admitted killing 10 civilians, including 7 children, in a drone strike the day before the last of its troops left Afghanistan. At the time, officials said they were certain the operation had destroyed a terrorist cell on its way to attack Kabul airport. But now the Pentagon says the victims were an innocent aid worker and his family, and has apologised for making a tragic mistake. Helen Keenan reports.
One of the United States' final acts in Afghanistan, a drone strike designed to target ISIS-K terrorists in Kabul. Instead, their mission killed aid worker Samurai Ahmadi, along with 9 members of his family, including 7 children, several of which were toddlers. Samurai had been pulling into the driveway of his home when his car was struck, the devastating aftermath discovered by his daughter.
I saw my father lying in the car. There was shrapnel in his chest, throat, everywhere.
US intelligence had tracked Samurai's car for 8 hours. His family don't have running water, and he was carrying containers of it in the car's boot that the US mistook for explosives. The strike was supposed to be an act of retaliation. Days before, ISIS-K had carried out a terror attack at Kabul airport, where evacuations were underway. And there were rumours of a second plot. The US thought Samurai was an ISIS-K facilitator.
This strike was taken in the earnest belief that it would prevent an imminent threat to our forces and the evacuees at the airport. But it was a mistake, and I offer my sincere apology.
The apology isn't enough for Samurai's brother Amal. His daughter, Malika, was also killed when drone operatives fired the Hellfire missile. He wants justice and for Washington to launch an investigation.
That's not enough. That's for sorry. That also that the USA should, that who person doing this action, who person killed innocent children in here, include of my daughter, my family.
The Pentagon has admitted the strike was a tragic mistake. For this family, it was an act that had horrific consequences. Helen Keenan, ITV News.
In other news, France's ambassador to Australia has described the cancellation of the submarine contract between the two countries as a huge mistake. Australia has instead decided to buy American submarines, leading France to recall its ambassadors from both countries in an unprecedented row between the longtime allies. French and American politicians are amongst the attendees at a summit of G7 parliamentary speakers in Chorley, Lancashire today. Commons Speaker Sir Lindsay Hoyle is hosting the event in his constituency and welcomed US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi among the guests. For a sixth straight day, more migrants have arrived in the UK after crossing the English Channel. Several were met by officials in Dungeness and Kent. A total of more than 650 migrants have made the journey this week across busy shipping lanes from France. And the US says it plans to send some 10,000 migrants trying to enter illegally from Mexico back to Haiti, where most are from. Thousands have been camped under a bridge that connects Mexico to Texas. On to sport now, and Derby County fans are coming to terms today with the announcement that their club has filed for administration. It almost certainly also means relegation for Wayne Rooney's championship side. Chris Scudder is at Pride Park in Derby, where the team has been in action this afternoon. And Chris, how are fans taking this?
Not taking it that well, I've got to say, Gamal. They did win today 2-1 against Stoke City, but dark day for what was a very famous club. Remember Brian Clough, the days of the 1970s when they won the Football League. But tonight it's simply a case of financial mismanagement, overspending. They have chased the dream, trying to buy their way back into the Premier League. They've got into trouble with the authorities, the Football League, the EFL, and because of that, they've overspent. They have they've got a potential 21-point deduction, 12 points for going into administration, and there could be further breaches as well. Now, it's all a question of who's blaming who here. The fans are not happy with the way Mel Morris, who's been in charge for the past 7 years or so, has been running the club. The club themselves have said that COVID was to blame. A statement today, because the pandemic has had a severe impact on the revenues and profits of all of its businesses. They say the club's been unable to service its day-to-day financial obligations. But as far as the fans are concerned, they're not happy at all. Here's what they said earlier.
Unbelievable. It's just back to the Maxwell days of 40 years ago.
Blaming COVID, there's however many of the teams in the EFL, how many of them else? How many others have got into administration? None as of yet.
Bad management. The worst thing is he hasn't spoken to anybody. If he'd speak to Derby fans, we'd all understand, but he hasn't spoken for 18 months.
Yeah, Mel Morris wasn't here today by his parking space being empty. Impending 12 points for going into administration deducted, plus a further 9, we think, this season. Troubled times ahead for a very, very famous old English football club.
OK, Chris, thank you. Well, meanwhile, in the Premier League, Brentford claims their first win on the road with a comfortable victory over Wolves at Molineux. Brian Mbeumo sealed the 2-0 defeat and his first top-flight goal. Let's take a look at the other scores. A win also for Arsenal and for Liverpool, who remain unbeaten. No goals for Man City versus Southampton. A 3-1 victory for Watford against Norwich. And Aston Villa and Everton are playing right now. The score was 0-0 a short time ago. In Scotland, there was a win for St Johnstone over Aberdeen, but the other 2 top-flight matches there ended in draws. And in Brazil, footballing legend Pelé says he's recovering well after he was admitted to intensive care for a second time. The 3-time World Cup winner had a tumour removed from his colon earlier this week and had been sent home. He told fans he's continuing to smile. And finally, Edinburgh Zoo has revealed the name of their new rare baby red panda. She'll be called Ruby, a name chosen by zookeepers who were given the privilege as a thank you for keeping the zoo going during the pandemic. The 4-month-old is not yet on view to the public, but is expected to start venturing outside with her mother in the coming weeks. Red pandas are native to the Himalayas and southern China, where they are endangered in the wild. And that's it. I'll be back with the late news at 10:20. Until then, very good evening. Bye-bye.